Hello, hello, and welcome back to the channel. As most of you know, I'm Topher. And for those of you who don't know and just randomly decided to click on the video, welcome to the channel. I'm Topher. Thank you for stopping by. So we're here to do a reaction, and we're diving back into the Untamed. We're diving into episode 29. Just finished reacting to episode 28 when Zhan and Wuxia met up in Ying, and Zhan's like, let's have lunch, let's catch up. And we just had the whole adorable little exchange with them and the little kid, and just, it's adorable. And you can join us over on Patreon if you want early access to these reactions. But let's dive on in and see where this episode takes us. Okay, so one thing I loved about this episode is it gave me, even though I know, I was gonna say, it gave me a sense of hope for how Wuxia can kind of live and still interact with some of the people in the world that I want him to interact with. Obviously, I know from where the series started, that's not going to be the case. It's not going to last very long. But just the interactions that we had at throughout the first half of the episode with Zhan, you know, us meeting up, having lunch, chit-chatting, all this kind of stuff, fun, cute stuff. We love to see it. But then Wuxian's invention of, you know, being able to see that, oh, there's evil spirits afoot or whatever happening back in the burial mounds, you know, it alerted him. So they went running back, and just seeing them tag team Ying, who got out of control through somehow. The spirits in him aggravated him. He tore off whatever the talismans were. He ripped off stuff off the walls, and, you know, he went amok. He ran amok. So then Zhan and Wuxia basically tag team Zhan using his zither to kind of calm and restrain him, while Wuxia went ham and just like did like 800 million talismans, all just spin and turn and flip and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, girl, he was working overtime, and it seemed to restrain whatever the darkness that was inside my sweet cinnamon roll, and brought his consciousness back in touch with his body. And at first I was like, okay, is this a temporary thing? Is this going to be long term? Are we going to have more sort of things like this that are going to have him become going out of control? You know, what's the deal? But it seems as though, at least for now, it seems like it's more of a long-term thing. He seems to be more in control of his consciousness right now. But, you know, it was nice seeing them work together. And then he's like, well, since you're here, let me show you around. And, you know, they sat down for tea, and, you know, the realization that they don't have a whole lot of guests here, which, you know, obvious, sad, but obvious. But it just made me optimistic in a sense, because this is yet another person who's part of, you know, the world we left behind, who's come to visit and has been fine. Like, there's been so many speculations about these burial mounds and going there and all the evil spirits, which, you know, before the Wen clan moved in there, had those same feelings, because when, you know, they dropped Wuxian's ass in the middle of the burial mounds, and there was just nothing but darkness and evil spirits abound. So like, now seeing, I can understand why people would have these reservations, because it's like, oh, we don't know what kind of evil is going to go on there. But this is the second person who's come to visit and has been fine, has had no issues with spirits trying to take over him or this, that, the other. Like, he's been fine. He just walked, it was just a normal place with people living their lives, just trying to make a living. That's it. Yeah, so it's a little dark, a little overcast, a little cloudy, a little gloomy, but it's not been this big, just like massive evil trying to take over, like the reputation might lead people to believe. So it makes me optimistic that, okay, maybe other people can also come in, of course, if Wuxian lets them in. Because obviously when Chang went to visit the first time, they had like a barrier up, and Chang had to break through with his purple lightning. So like, if Wuxian chose to let other people in, or they broke in, they could come in and see that, okay, it's not some big evil place. Maybe we can just treat them like an ordinary sect. Obviously, that's me being terribly wishful. I know that the grand elders of all the other sects are not going to sit here and be like, okay, we're going to treat this clan full of of Wen Clan rejects, you know, we're not gonna treat them as a legitimate sect, especially when their leader is the defected Wuxia. This, like, no, we're not. The rest of the world is not going to treat him that way. But it just makes me feel optimistic that, you know, maybe his sister can come and visit. Not that we would want her out there and all of this stuff, but maybe his sister could come and visit and they could have a conversation. Or maybe, you know, it just gives me, or maybe Lan Zhan could come back. Because again, nothing happened to Lan Zhan. He was fine. And granted, I don't foresee him coming back, but it was nice to, see them have another interaction together like this, because I was worried that they were gonna end up just being separated by the paths that they went on, which they are going to be. I was worried that it was going to be from like last couple episodes and just that way moving forward. So I was glad to see them have these interactions together, and just show that it is possible. And yeah, like I was saying, I think last episode, I guess this Yiling area that they're in is so small that they just don't know what they're talking about. These people, they're talking about the Wen clan, and they're talking about Wuxian and the Yiling patriarch, which they keep saying he's calling himself that, which I don't know that he is. If he did, I must have missed it at some point, but I don't know that he is calling himself that. But they keep spinning that, they keep saying that damn word. So like, they're talking about him, he's on everyone's mouth, he's in everyone's mouth, but he's like just floating through the city. Yeah, let me buy your potatoes, let me buy this, that, the other, let me sell you my radishes. And like, no one's batting an eye. He's being carried through on this wheelbarrow by Sweet Boy, and like, no one's even batting an eye. It's like, because they don't know what he looks like. They're talking about him, but they don't know what the hell he looks like. They don't know who he is. So I forgot where my train of thought was going with that. Scrub through the episode. Yeah, sweet little baby boy wants Lan Zhan to come back, and yeah, sweet. Having the big dinner because they're thankful that for all Wuxian's done, for all the help he's brought them, for reviving Sweet Boy, and you know, they just want to throw him this big old banquet. So they have this banquet, all this wine he's drinking. And at first, you know, I'm like, okay, a couple little drinks won't hurt you, but then he getting a little tipsy. I'm like, baby, let's calm down. But, you know, the alcohol was bringing out the truth in him that he probably did not want to say aloud. And Qing was over there listening, because he's like, I'm useless. I promised that I was going to help plan this wedding, and now I can't even go to her wedding, this, that, the other. And all these, and reminiscing on the first time he met Lan Zhan was because of this wine that he snuck into the place, and now he may never even get to taste that kind of wine ever again. And you know, he's feeling very like the gravity of the situation of like his decisions is setting in for him. Like, obviously he knew he was going down this road, he was going to have to leave people behind, this, that, and the other, but now actually seeing it happen, hearing that his sister's getting married and he didn't even get so much as a notification. Granted, we cut ties with him, so it makes sense, but still. And then seeing Lan Zhan, like, he'd probably already made his peace with the fact that he's probably never going to see Lan Zhan again. So then seeing him in person and getting the chance to interact with him, it's just like kind of reigniting that desire to be with Lan Zhan, and it's just not really in the cards. So, you know, he was feeling his feels. He was feeling a lot of things in that moment. And then we jump to the end of the episode, which I wasn't sure. I'm trying to scrub through to see if maybe they gave me a time jump. No. So I don't know if there actually was a time jump, because we just had these two like teenage looking guys out here talking about, hey, I am the Yiling patriarch's a disciple. I'm a disciple of this, that, the other, and I'm here to sell my master's inventions, this, that, the other. And then this other one's like, you're not the... At first I thought it was sweet little boy, Yuan, like grown up. So I'm like, oh, we had a big old time jump. I've grown up and selling this, that, the other. And then I was like, no, maybe, I don't know. Then we had this other teenager pop up like, you're not the patriarch. I'm a disciple. I don't know who you are. I don't believe this guy's lies. And they're sitting here back and forth. I'm like, what is going on? But you got these people just out here blatantly selling all this stuff under the guise that they're coming from the Ying Patriarch, which again, I don't know if Wuxian is referring to himself or his little group by this name. I have yet to hear that. So it's like people are out here trying to make money from Wuxian, or just using his name, using this, that, the other. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on here right now, y'all. But yeah, I'm just very interested to see how things are going to play out, because for me, I figured once Chang left and was like, okay, fine, we're cutting off ties with him and he's this, that, the other, I would have assumed that all of the grand elders of these different sects and whatnot were going to come for Wuxian. Like, that was one of the main things that was happening in that banquet hall with the Jin leader. And he's like, yes, we need that. He's got the last piece of the yin iron, and this, that, the other. We need him to hand over this, and he's the enemy. We need to take him down. Blah blah blah. So I assumed that once Chang cut ties, that's where we were going. But the last episode and a half has just been kind of, I don't know, low key, low stakes. Nothing from the outside forces as far as like military coming to invade has happened, and I imagine it's going to happen sometime soon. But in the meantime, we're just kind of basking in this quiet before a storm, I suppose. But my cinnamon roll is back, and he seems to be himself again, sweet as ever. I'm hoping that lasts. Again, we had some other rumors floating around there towards the end, townspeople talking about, oh, if I go any further, then we'll be at the Burial Mountain. Isn't that where the Ying Patriarch is? And this, that, the other. And you shouldn't go there. Heed my warning. But, oh, I want to go because he's invented all these useful tools and this, that, the other tools that were being used in modern day pre-flashback. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. We just got to wait and see where the things are going to take us. But yeah, for the most part, with the exception of a couple scenes, very lighthearted episode. I would love it if Wuxian was able to make it to his sister's wedding in some way, shape, or form. Like I was saying there, I would love it if there was some sort of word of honor equivalent to masking his identity, where he could just either put on some sort of rubber mask or use some sort of magic to disguise himself or whatever, so that he could just like roll up there and see his sister, even if he doesn't stay for the ceremony, even if he just like sneaks into her wedding chambers or like her changing room or whatever while she's getting ready and just like, hey, it's me, I just want to tell you I love you, blah blah blah, just so they could have some interaction like that. I would love for that to be the case. I don't know if it's going to be the case, we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, like always, great episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, turn on notifications to be notified when all of my shenanigans get posted. If there's anything else you'd like me to react to, be sure to leave it down in the comments. I'll get to it as soon as I possibly can. If you'd like to support the channel in other ways, you're more than welcome to join us over on Patreon. Don't have to, but you're more than welcome to if you want to. And if you'd like early access to these reactions, join us over on Patreon. But I'll see you guys in my next video. Love you. Mwah.
Now we're together.